Steve with Texas Know How here, up on this early Sunday morning, gonna fix my daughter's car. She's about 67,000 miles, but it's a 2004. Parts are getting worn over age. Maybe not so much mileage, but age is doing some damage. So what we're gonna do today is replace the idler and the tensioner pulley and the serpentine belt, the water pump, and that should probably pretty much take up most of my morning right here. First time doing it, so I'm going to show you how I do it along the way. Okay, so I'm going to need to work in this area here to get the pump off, and as you can see here, there's a big fan cover or fan shroud here, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off so I can have more clearance. Looks like I'm going to take off this clip here. Let's move the red lock, place in the gear, pull this part off. There's a part that you push down at the bottom, push it firmly, and then separate the two, hold them both in. Okay, so let me show you what I did. There are just two screws, one right here, I think they're 10 millimeter if I'm not mistaken, and one right here. If you got big hands, it's going to be super hard getting back here. You have to really squeeze to get underneath this upper radiator hose to get to that screw. If you have an extension, it's going to help you out. Just be careful not to drop the screw down there. I guess it just fall to the ground anyhow, but anyway. Then there's another obstacle to overcome. There's this lip right here that doesn't want to come across this beam, this bar. So what you have to do, you don't have to take this off entirely because there's two screws at the bottom that hold this down as well. That's just going to be really a nightmare to get to. So what you need to do is just take off the screw here. Don't worry about this one, that holds the headlight. This one, let's see here, this one right here. This one, again, disregard that one holds the headlight, and this one, okay? And you don't need to worry about this, okay? That's just going to sit there. What you want to do is you want to have enough clearance to pull this out. I'm not going to do it over again, but you pull this back right here, okay? Pull it back. Don't want to bend it, just enough pressure to give this clearance. Then you're going to grab the shroud and you're going to pull it back, not too far. You don't want to break the clips on the bottom, and then just shimmy it out, okay? And it should come out like that. Ta-da! Okay, FYI, you actually didn't have to take this out. This is connected to the fan, so that could actually stay on this mounting housing right here. So all you have to do is just disconnect it and pull the other line off to the side safely. And this one just needs to be, you can stay attached. Okay, so just for clarification, what we're doing today, we're going to be focusing on this piece right here. This is going to be our water pump. It's held in by several screws. There's two different sizes here, so be careful on what you take out and set it in the right place when you put it back. And then we're going to focus on this idler pulley and then the idler wheel here. Okay, we're going to switch those out, and then we're going to switch out the serpentine belt as well. It looks like it's a Mopar original part, so it's at 67,000. It's 2004, so it's seen some years. I highly doubt that they replaced it with a Mopar. Usually people just go to AutoZone and get like an aftermarket Continental or something. So it's probably a good time to be replacing this. So anyway, here we go. Let's drain. Okay, so I'm ready to drain. Let me go over a couple things real quick. In order for it to drain smoothly, you want to go ahead and take that off. I just set it up off the side so no debris gets in it, but just keep it cracked open. Okay, and then you're going to go down there, and you make sure you have a bucket big enough to retain the fluid. And then I ran into a little problem here. It's like the biggest Allen wrench I had. This looks like it goes with an Allen wrench. The one I have is an 8. I need something bigger, so I modified. I have a torque that fits in there, and it's a T55. You might be able to swing it with what you need, but with what you have at the house. But I'm not going to the store to get any more parts right now. Hopefully not. So I'm going to use this one. It fits in there, and you're just going to go lefty-loosey, and then it's going to relieve the valve. Okay, and then I'm just going to let it do its thing. I'm going to go get a coffee and sit back and watch it drain. Yep, there it is draining. Just let it do its thing. Got a big pan underneath there, and I also got a mat to catch up any kind of like spill off, splash, or whatever. So I told you I was getting a coffee, so there it is. like motor oil, and hopefully it tastes just like it too. Okay, before I pull off that pump, I wanted to do a little prep work. Here we go. This is the pump here. It's an AC Delco. Got good reviews on Amazon. Some people said it was even better than the OEM that was on there, so I went with it. A little disappointed it didn't come with bolts, new bolts, but oh well. So there it is. Ooh, look at that beauty. Look at that. Clean enough to eat off of. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, so there it is there. It did come with a gasket though, okay? And so we're definitely going to use that. What I did is I got this tip off this other dude on YouTube, and I just traced the outline of the pump. And since we have 3 screws, I believe it's 3 that are longer than the others, we want to make sure we keep track of everything. So as I pull these screws off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into the orientation in the correct pattern that it's in the engine. Okay, so there's no mistake when I go back and put the new one in and do that. So I just put the pump over this. And then just outlined it, you know, a rough outline, and then just took my trusty drill and just drilled holes in here. So I'm going to take the screws and put them in there, so when I'm ready to do it, I know exactly which screw goes where. Okay. Alright, so since this is almost finished draining, I'm going to go ahead and take off this serpentine belt so we can access the water pump and take it off, and also this idler pulley. So what you want to do is take a 15mm socket. You want to get a ratchet with a long extension for leverage. You're going to go to the right, and as you notice here, it moves and takes the tension off, right? And then what I like to do is just slip it off over the alternator, because that's kind of like where my hand is. I might need 2 hands. Hold on. How about this? We'll do it like in 3D. So I'm pulling it down, and then I'm going to take it off of the alternator. There we go. Pull back a little bit, and then don't let it snap back on you. Use some muscle and control it. Don't let it control you. And then release. All right. Now, as you can see here, put that down. The belt is off. Now, again, okay, it's wound up in there, and you just got to play with it. All right, and there it is. We're going to take that bad boy out here, okay, and we're going to put it over here. We're not going to reuse that one. That one's feeling actually a little crusty anyhow. It's not too pliable anymore. It doesn't feel kind of bendy anymore. It feels a little crusty. Okay, so I took that out pretty quickly, and if I didn't have a pattern of how it went back on, I would do that myself. I've written that down for previous cars. But I have one right here, so I just kind of ripped it off because I knew I had this sticker here. So if you don't have this sticker for this this model Jeep, here you go. Here's a freebie for you. This is how it's wrapped around. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so I'm going to go and take off this idler pulley now. We have a 13mm socket in there, a large ratchet, so for leverage, and we're going to go crack that baby open. Here we go. What I like about this is this looks like the original one. I just like the idea that nobody's taken this off since it was assembled on the line, and I'm the first one to touch that backside since then. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. It's coming on out. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to free up a hand here. You get the idea. I don't want this big heavy piece falling down there on top of that hose and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and free this up, take this off, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I found the prop spot, and I'll allow you to see this here. So I'm just pulling this baby off. I'm going old school, just pure muscle here, no electric ratchets or anything like that. Probably need to get one of those though, honestly. Okay, here we go. Look at that. So once it gets to that point, you can just kind of finger it off. And this thing going to need some lube on it or something, because it's looking a little rusty here. But there it is. Okay, off. Keeping the bolt. I don't know if the new one comes with one. We'll see. Okay, so now we're moving on to the water pump here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and take off these bolts, and then I take each one of those off. Remember, I'm going to put it into the pattern over there. I have a drip pan underneath here. There we go. Got a drip pan. Also got a splash guard around the bottom so I don't dirty up my driveway. And that thing is almost done. It's just giving little splurts here and there, but there's going to be some trapped in this housing back here, so we want to make sure that we do have stuff that's going to pick it up. I even put a shirt right here to kind of pick up some of the spill. I sacrificed one of my wife's t-shirts, so that's going to be very useful here in a second from you know, a lot of the spillage. So I'm going to go ahead and go around and do that. I'll be right back. Okay, let's give you a visual of what I'm doing. I'm going to start with the bolt right here that's directly underneath the alternator, and then I'm going to work around in a clockwise fashion, okay? And I'm just going to turn these to the left, okay? And take this one off, okay? There we go. There's that one bolt here. So let me show you real quick what I was talking about with that bolt pattern. Since this is the top, I'm taking that bolt and I'm going to put it right there. Okay? So now I know when I go back to install the new one, that bolt goes in that hole. Alright? I'm going to go around and finish up the job. Okay, here comes bolt 2. And I'm going to be careful not to strip these because I might have to reuse them. I don't know if that part came with these. Oh no, it didn't. That's right, we were talking about that. Alright, here we go. Alright, here's the second bolt here. Go nice and slow. Don't want to strip these because we're going to reuse them. Okay, feels like I'll be able to get that with a finger. Maybe not. Okay, but I'm going to take this off. Do it like this. Alright. There we go. See, this is one of those longer bolts here. So, it's good to know where that goes. Because I don't want to miss it there. Okay, so that's going to go right there. Okay, so we got a short bolt and a long bolt, and we're just going to go around. Alright, you don't need to see me do the rest, so I'm just going to take care of that and be right back. Okay, so I'm down to the last bolt here. Happens to be a long one too. I'm going to go ahead and put it over here in the last slot. Okay, and so I just wanted to clarify something. I had it oriented wrong on here. I had this as the top, but actually that's the top. I guess what I'm considering the top is right underneath the alternator is the bolt that follows. I'm considering that the top, and I'm working my way around. If I'm looking here, it looks like okay, so it looks like this one, and this one. These three are your long bolts right here where my fingers are. Those are your long bolts, if it matters to you. If you're not doing the diagram, just to let you know, 1, 2, and this is the third one over here, okay? So just think about the top bolt. It's the one to the left, two to the left of it, 1 to the right of it, okay? So I'm gonna pull this thing off now, and there should be some coolant left in there. So let's see what kind of mess we can make. Alright, pour this in here. Whoa, there we go. Just pouring on out, so that's why you need those drip hands. Okay, but that pulled off real easy. There you go, there's the old one. I'm sure it's the original. The gasket looks like it's pretty sunk in there. It's a good thing we're doing this because it'll probably be a leak here pretty soon. Let me show you. See that gasket? Look how flush it is. No buoyancy left in it. Okay, so we're going to clean up that housing real good, and then we're going to reinstall. Okay, so what I got is I got some like throttle body cleaner. You can probably use brake pad cleaner or whatever. And I'm just saturating the area real good. We're gonna clean this off. Grabbed a couple of pair of my kids' socks here so we can put them to some good use. Get that real clean. I'm gonna get like a little like a Scotch-Brite pad, and I'm gonna come around and clean this real good, and then I'm gonna spray it down and get everything dry and prepped, and so that we can install the new one and there's no problems with leakage. Fingers crossed on that. So let me do what I gotta do, and I'll be back. Look at that. So clean, so clean. We can serve dinner nuts on these things right here. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Got everything off, dried it off real nicely. You don't want to use anything greasy on here. That's why I use like a brake cleaner or throttle cleaner, because you want it to dry nicely so that there's no grease or anything in there, because I think that gasket may be compromised if you have some grease on there. Okay. What I'm gonna do here, I got those nuts here. I'm gonna spray some of these down with like some lithium grease. They're looking like they've been in there for a time. I mean, they don't look all that bad, but some of them are starting to get little rust deposits on them. So there we go. Got those all nice and lubed up so they can be in there for another decade plus. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the parts and we're gonna install them. Okay, so while I had everything open, I decided I might as well replace the thermostat too, because if this fails and I have to replace it, you got to tear everything back apart. So why not do it while you have it open? So I got this fail-safe thermostat. It costs about $30 over at AutoZone, and basically, if the car overheats, it pushes more radiator fluid into the system to keep it from damaging the engine. Probably never been replaced. So let's go ahead and do that too. Okay, so here we have the lower radiator hose. You got two 8mm screws, one on top, one on bottom. I already unscrewed them, and all you're going to do basically is unscrew those two. Probably going to be some fluid left in there. You hear it? Yep, there it goes. Just pull that off. Okay, just put it up to the side, and notice the orientation of it right there. Okay, so you see the nipple right here sticking out. I'm going to grab it and then pull up. Don't want to come out that easy. Okay, I'm going to go get some pliers and pull that straight out, and then we're going to replace it with a new one. Okay, so basically I loosened it up. I'm just going to pull it out here. Some fluid came out already. I'm just doing this for illustration purposes only. Notice the coil, that part goes into the block here. Okay, there is one little piece right here. You see it sticking up on that gasket? Okay, it sticks up. That's going to fit on the back end of this housing. Look for the little gasket. That's going to be hard to film here, but I can feel it's right there. There's like a little indentation in the mount right here. That gasket's going to go into that little indentation of the mount. So make sure that matches up, okay? And as you can see here on the new one, here it is. See, the new one has it too. It's a little piece of rubber on that gasket that juts up that goes into the housing on the back end of that lower radiator pipe. Okay, so make sure that you match that up. All right, don't disregard that, or you might have leak problems. Okay. Okay, so I cleaned up the housing. Use a little brake throttle fluid cleaner right there on the housing as well. Everything's nice and spick and span and clean. So we're going to get the thermostat, put it on in there, and we're going to get rolling on that. Let me grab it. Okay, so I cleaned out the thermostat housing really nicely. Used that throttle cleaner. Okay, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to install this with the coil on the outside. Make sure it matches up on here with that one spot, and I'm not getting good enough lighting even for myself here, so let me make sure that's matching up there. Yes, perfect. Okay, so match it up on the housing first. Oops. Okay, and then you're going to put it right in there like that. Okay, like that. Okay, then you're going to screw it in and tighten it, the bolts, to 8 to 11 foot-pounds. Okay, so time to torque that down. So got it hand threaded in. I'm gonna go to, it said 8 to 11 foot-pounds. I'm going 10. There it is right there. Okay, and get that bottom one. Same thing. Get it going. There it is right there. Hear that? That's the little poppy one here. And there we go. Get that bottom one again. Oops. You know, I just make sure I get it right because there's a lot going on here. There it is. There's a lot going on here when to take apart if you got a leak. Okay. All right. Okay, time to get that water pump in. Here's a new one, of course, and here's the old one. One thing I wanted to point out is the gasket. Make sure you do not reuse the gasket. Use a new gasket. This is one of the reasons why these things fail, is because they start leaking over time. These gaskets go bad. So there is a marker here, and then a marker right here. Make sure they match up, and there's only one way this can go in. Look at, I know this hasn't been compressed yet, but you can see the lift here on the gasket, nice and fresh. Look at the old one. It's pretty much flush with the housing. So this thing is going to fail soon. So it's a good thing we're doing this. Alright, let's get it in. Okay, just double check your gasket. Looks good. Go ahead and match it up the way it's supposed to go in. Get that first screw in and tightened. Just hand tighten right there. Okay. No jerky movements. You don't want anything to happen in that gasket. I'm going to grab the rest of the bolts and get them in, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I have all 8 bolts in here hand tightened. Okay, so what they want you to do is they want you to build up to the torque and do a crisscross pattern like you would like on a tire, okay, to ensure even displacement of pressure. So I'm going to start here at the top, work down, side to side, up and down. Okay, so we're going to start at 20 foot-pounds, it says, and then go to 30 and then 40. So first of all, it's 20 foot-pounds. Okay, there's 20 there. I'm going to come down to this one, down here. Okay, there's 20 there. Then I'm going to come back up here. Get this one. 20. Then I'm going to come across here. Okay, you figure out your own crisscross pattern. This doesn't have to be like this, but here, there's 20 coming up. There's 20. And then here's one down here. Okay, there we go. I guess I would have to distribute these a little more evenly next time for the next round. Okay, so here's the last one. Okay, there's 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to 30 and then ultimately 40. And at 40 I'm going to stop, okay? And then that's going to be done there. You don't need to see me doing that. But one thing I want to say too, also when you're done with all that, you want to spin the shaft to make sure it goes back and forth, okay? That there's no hesitation, there's no lag, there's nothing holding on to it, and this feels good. There's also, some of them may have like this little cap at the end. You can just take that cap off, okay? I'm going to get this down, take the cap off, and I'll be back for it. We'll put on the tensioner pulley. Okay, just going to come around. Everything should be at 40 at this point. Since everything's evenly displaced, I'm just going to come around and start in a clockwise fashion here. I got everything else at a crisscross. That's good. You always want to double check your torques. Make sure that you got all of them. Okay, all 40 pounds. Here's that cap. We just take that off. We don't want that flying off at high speeds, you know, and getting, you know, knocked around in the engine block. Okay, so we get rid of that. Now, next we need to put on this idler pulley. Okay, so now that we have the water pump housing all torqued in and ready to go, we need to put in that idler pulley now, our tensioner pulley. And if you notice on the back of the new one, there's that indentation right there. Okay, that indentation right there is going to fit over this top nut right here. Okay, so we're going to just put it right over that, like like that. Okay, it's going to fit in there nice and like a puzzle piece. Okay, and then I'm going to get the screw in, get it down, and on this one we're going to take it down to 30 foot-pounds. Okay, so let me take care of that, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got hand tightened on there. You know, and there's only one way this is going to go on, since there's that bolt right there. It has to go in the indentation. So remember, we had it at 40 foot-pounds before, now we want to do 30 foot-pounds. So I brought it back down 10 foot-pounds. So we're going to get that down till it clicks. There it is right there. One more for safe measure, 30 foot-pounds. There we go, hear that? That's what you want to hear, that's 30. Okay, we're good to go there. And let me show you a close-up of it. All right, there it is. There's that beauty. Look at that. Okay, so we got idler tensioner pulley system down 30 foot-pounds. We had the water pump down up to 40 foot-pounds on each of the 8 bolts. And then we had a thermostat replacement down here, and we did those at 8 to 11 foot-pounds. Okay, I did 10 on this one. All right, so let's get the belt on now. Okay, so here's the belt routings right here, if you want to take note of that. I got it all set up right down here. I usually like to start at the bottom here and work my way around the idle, and then the tensioner pulley up to the compressor, down to the water pump, and then around here. Now what I do is I just leave the one last part, the alternator. Okay, so when I take the tension off of this, I can pull it up over the smallest circumference right here and just slip it on. Okay, so let me just go ahead and take care of that. Okay, so I'm ready to get this on. So I took my 15mm bolt, got a long ratchet here, okay, because I want to have some leverage, okay, to make this as easy as possible. I'm going to swing on over to the passenger side, and remember, I just have this one piece I need to get over, a piece of the belt I need to get over the alternator. So I'm just going to kind of get set up. You put the bolt over the tensioner pulley, which is the one on the left, okay, not the idler, but the tensioner pulley, and then you go ahead, take the tension off of it. Remember, you're moving the ratchet to the right. I know righty is usually tighty, but it takes the tension off. Okay, so you see here, I have it on there, and while I got the tension on, I'm just gonna double check that it's going over all the rib pieces correctly, if it's going over the water pump nice and evenly, and also this idler pulley, and it looks pretty darn good right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and slightly take the tension off. Wait, let me fix this one right here. Okay, I'm gonna slightly take tension off. Remember, don't let it snap back on you. And there you go. Okay, done skis. All right. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the drain here. I don't think it's just pretty much nothing coming out. So I'm going to go get my torque wrench in there, and I'm going to go to the right to tighten this baby up. Don't over tighten. Just feel that resistance right there, but don't go past it because you don't want anything to break. I think that's like plastic or something right here, something cheap. Okay, so there we go. We got plugged up, and so what we're going to do is we're going to fill up the reservoir here. Then we go get the fluid. Okay, so here's what we're using today. I did some forum research. People are saying the Xerox G05 antifreeze is good stuff for this car. I bought the 50/50. You can do the full strength stuff and dilute it with distilled water, but here I just pour and go. So let me go ahead and get it pouring. I didn't put the fan on yet because I want to check for leaks, and I just want to get a good visual inspection of what's going on. So we'll put the fan on later. All right, took off our cap, put in our funnel. We're gonna go ahead and fill this baby up. I'm gonna pour from the side, get good displacement to minimize spilling. And you just wanna go through, take your time. I can hear it running through the lines right now. Helps with the larger funnel, but we'll make do. Okay, so I have it filled with coolant. I'm going to start here in a minute. I'm looking just right now and I'm not seeing any kind of leaks, but I'm going to go ahead and get the fan in after all. I'm going to get it hooked up, and I just want to just kind of blow out the housing a little bit, just to get some, get it laying out to me. Okay, we're going to slip this fan into the housing. We want to make sure that this bracket right here matches up to the bracket down there. So we're going to go in and kind of just shimmy it in, and you're going to have to eyeball it. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're just going to get the screws in. Don't forget there's that one underneath the upper radiator hose. And then there's one over here that's easier. So let me get that in and we'll go to the next step. Okay, now that the fan's in, I wanted to show you real quickly what I was talking about. There's that, it's identical on both sides, but there's a, about 3/4 of the way down, there's a little lip of plastic that has to sit right in there, which is, let me get my finger, like right there where my finger's pointing, okay? Make sure that's in the insert. Don't force anything. You don't want to break stuff. You know, this is a Dodge, and little pieces break off easy over time. And then you want to make sure that you got the other side in. Once it's seated in there correctly, you want to get your screws back in. Okay, so I'm getting my screw back in here, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tighten it down with the socket. Okay, then we got to get our connector back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get a little dielectric grease in here for the connector. I'm just going to spread it over the female end. That, okay, it's like anti-corrosive, so if any moisture gets in there, it doesn't corrode out. And then we're going to come back around, and then we're going to plug it back in. And remember, you don't need to take this part out because it's connected to the fan. Okay, once it goes in, you hear that snap right there, okay, and then don't forget to put the lock into place. That's done. I'm just going to tighten these down, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Okay, so I'm going to fill some of this. Let me tell you, you're going to see some smoke here. There's some radiator fluid that kind of came over the sides to start it off. But I filled up this reservoir, and you can hear it coming through the tank and going through the hoses and stuff. But it's a process, okay? So once it gets to the top here, what I found works for me is that when you get off the bleeder right here, to the right of the alternator, I actually took that off, and I put a funnel on it. Let me show you. One of these funnels, and I put it right over the top there like that, and I filled it up in there, and it took me good, I don't know, 2 liters or so before it started overflowing. That's a good way to get it through. Once that's done, you want to start it up, put the heater on high, and then let it suck through the system. And when this starts going down, you just want to start stalling it up. But at the same time, you want to be bleeding this right here. Okay? You want to make sure no bubbles are coming out. You got some bubbles still coming out. You have to leave that system so there's no air trap through the line. Okay? Otherwise, I can do some damage to the cooling system there. So let me get to work on this. I see that I need to go ahead and fill this back up a little bit. Okay, so I got the heater on full blast. I'm looking at my temperature gauge, it's reading right there, just slightly below, if I can get a temperature here, slightly below middle, right where we need it to be. And let's go back out here. Okay, so my fill-up line's right here. This is just coming out clear. We're not seeing any more bubbles really. So I think we're going to close that up. Looks like it's bled. I'm going to run this this afternoon. I'm going to open it back up. I'm going to see where our line is here. You know, you want to kind of eyeball it for, after you drive it a few miles, see where you're at, okay? And make sure that it's at the right levels. Here we go. So this Also, don't forget to replace your 5 screws from this crossbar here. Alright, so left a little aftermath here. Okay, but the job's all done. It seems like it's working really well. You know, great satisfaction in doing this yourself. Just know what you're doing before you get into it, and YouTube's always there to help. And you're gonna save yourself a ton of money, just like we did right now. Saved over $1,000 doing it myself. And you know what? Daddy's gonna go out right now and buy a new grill. Take care. Steve Texas KnowHow. Hopefully this is informative. Give me a thumbs up, and see you later.